Wow, what a trip down memory lane. Hi everybody, welcome to At Your Leisure today. I'm Chad Booth, and I'm on my way to meet Rhea at the campground. And just pulled off in this little side spot. Decided, because side-by-sides are street legal, or can be now, I was just gonna skip the trailer and drive the machine right to camp. You know, a lot's changed since we started At Your Leisure back in 2002. One thing, side-by-sides didn't exist. We were a year away from the Yamaha Rhino being introduced to the marketplace. This was not a part of Wasatch State Park. And it was just a little pond off of a side road way back in Forest Service land. Okay, a lot of other things have changed. One, I couldn't drive this to the campground because ATVs weren't street legal at the time. And so you couldn't ride them on the roads. And in addition, the development of riding areas, camping areas had very limited funding because dedicated funds hadn't been set up, and now they are. So Utah has become an outdoor recreation mecca, not just for non-motorized, but for motorized as well, and we have documented that entire history. So why don't we take a little stroll down memory lane and look back at all the things that have changed in 2 decades of AYL.
If the 450 holds up to its reputation, this power ought to be incredible.
Our review today is the new Honda 500 Rubicon. You can actually shift this thing 2 different ways.
We're talking about the 700 Polaris Sportsman twin-cylinder engine.
I don't know if it's part Jeep, part ATV. It's looked like they kind of smashed them together and created an all-new type of all-terrain vehicle. Hi, I'm Darren Kinder, and our review today is the new Yamaha Rhino 660.
And welcome to the bad boy of waiting lists.
We've got the all-new Polaris 900 Razor. We gotta go drive it. We'll see you later.
Woo!
I'm Kurt with Slick Rock Productions, and today we're going to do a complete review on the new Polaris Expedition and give you all the details.
Snow Canyon is located about 10 miles north of St. George, where you'll find Navajo sandstone of the red and white variety.
I'm Jill Kinder.
And I'm Darren Kinder, and right behind us is Mount Rushmore.
I'm Stephen Heumann.
And I'm Alicia Staten. We, right now, are getting ready for some land adventure.
And I'm Maria Rossi Booth.
And I'm Corey Toon.
And we right now are at Jordanelle Reservoir.
Welcome to At Your Leisure. At Your Leisure, we are the Johnson family, and we are so excited to be here.
You know, it's fun to stroll down memory lane and think about the good old days and how cool everything was. Really excited about the future because we have so many technological advances that have entirely changed the sport. And we'll look at those a little bit later, but most importantly, all the wonderful places we've been. Utah has exploded as a destination. Right now, it's time for us to go on to our first story of the week. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We are in the city now at the state capitol. A lot of people wonder what the connection is on an outdoor show with this building. Well, it's actually, over our history, been a very big deal. Now, when we started At Your Leisure, a lot of people don't realize that this show began because of the off-road industry. The dealers and some of the local agencies asked us to start this show. And so we started producing a program so that we could get the right message out about off-road recreation of all kinds, and that we could dispel some of the myths and the rumors and set the standards for how people should be recreating. And that's exactly how we got started with our program. Over the course of years, of course, there have been big issues that have challenged our right to access public land. Not just on the land, there's been challenges on personal watercraft at Lake Powell. There have been challenges against dispersed camping in places like the San Rafael Swell, as well as road closures. Like 2 years after we started, the entire basis of off-road recreation changed. Originally, it was you could travel wherever you wanted unless it was otherwise designated to route only. And in 2002, that changed, is you can only travel on designated routes unless otherwise specified. And that made a seismic shift in land access and started a land review process that led to closure to hundreds of thousands of miles of roads and trails around the state. And that's one of the first areas we picked up was RS 2477. Because the federal government had closed so many trails and were proposing to close off so many trails, some of the commissioners in Kane County decided to stand up to that and go fight that and pull up the government sign and assert their rights on RS 2477. Needless to say, somebody had to stand up and make a public voice for this issue so that people could become aware of it. And we started, and we have been that voice. Then, of course, on top of that, there was the Take Back Utah movement, where there were massive attempts to create wilderness area, federally protected areas on areas that had no real value of any significant kind. And with those broad sweeping brushes, there started a movement, and we were key in doing it. In fact, the very first Take Back Utah rally was held right here at the Capitol, and 5,000 people got on their ATVs and came up here in a protest for the encroachment of federal rights on public lands in Utah. And that led the legislature and the governor to be bold enough to take action. And it created House Bill 148, which demanded the transfer of public lands back to Utah. And while there hasn't been much talk about that lately, it is still in progress. More recently, court cases have thrown back the travel management plans and has caused all 8 field offices of the BLM to restudy and redesignate their travel plans. It's starting to show itself as these travel plans come up. And we need, going in the future, to stay ahead of this. Otherwise, adventure bikes, side-by-sides, ATVs, Jeeps, and even people who are doing adventure camping are going to potentially lose a lot of access to public land. So there's a purpose for us to be here, to fight the travel management plans, to make sure we support the state, and to be that voice for the community, and that's where At Your Leisure has really helped. So enough of the politics, let's go find out some more of the fun in the history of AYL. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We're just kind of taking stock of 21 years of doing this show. And you know, one of the things people tell us is the most important thing for them to watch our show is to see the new places we go and the new things that we do. And sometimes people say, well, what's your favorite? Well, I have my personal favorites. Corby and the kids, when they were growing up, they were Goblin Valley or Lake Powell. And Rhea, she just loves to travel. So any way you look at it, we've had different things to do. Let's find out what some of the highlights are right now.
The Barracks Trail goes all the way from right almost to the Arizona border to, it comes clear along the edge of where you can look down into Zion and then drops off into a real sandy area down into the Virgin River and then comes out at Mount Carmel. It's a beautiful ride. It has its hard spots and it has its easy spots where you can be tested a little bit on your machines.
Well, it's one of the masterpieces of Utah. I mean, this loop from Torrey going around to Boulder Mountain on Highway 12, you know, it's just a gorgeous piece of highway. The scenery, you know, from this low desert, what you're in now, and then we get up there to the high mountains and into the quakes and pines. No, it's just an incredible piece of real estate.
Navajo Lake Lodge here, opened back in 1927. Great fishing. You'll see 100 kayakers out there, paddle boards. Water's amazingly crystal clear. It's just a chill lake.
We're ready to shove off and roll down the river. Let's find out what rafting in Costa Rica is like.
We're at a place called Maple Grove between Scipio and Salina, about halfway in between the two towns.
Yeah.
Really cool little campsite. You wouldn't want to come here because it's too nice. We come down here 3 or 4 times a year probably. It's just a piece of heaven.
My aunt and uncle are originally the ones that invited me out here. Very first time in Moab. This is my 3rd trail overall. Went on a trail ride with a my brother actually, and one of my cousins, and that was it. I was hooked. You know, got the off-road bug and had to scratch my own itch and buy my own Jeep. So
this place is the beginning of Cataract Canyon, and it's life-changing. It truly is. The first experience, make you come back for more. If you're into big whitewater and exciting thrills, this is it. The canyon next down, you have two rivers coming together, a lot of water in a very small space. So lots of compression, a lot of big waves.
Well, no matter which way you turn, there's always something exciting. What will the future hold? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit in just a minute. Now, which way do I go to the campground? It's got to be this way.
Welcome back to At Your Leisure, everybody. We're out here camping in Utah, and where have you been? And thank you.
There you go. Now,
it took you so long.
Well, the store's that way, the shortcut's that way. I had to take the shortcut.
I know, and you just get in that thing and you just go, go, go.
You know, we've been doing it for 22 years.
Amazing.
And there's adventure around every bend. I had so many more adventures than I'd just driven over to the store. Anyway, why don't you take a look at next week's show?
You know, Chad, it's been an amazing 22 years.
Yeah, you know, in 2 decades, we've been practically everywhere and seen practically everything.
I mean, the West is just like been literally our backyard.
That's true, and maybe it's time to pass the baton on to a new generation.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is. And then now we can like kick back, put our feet up, and then we can watch the show.
There you have it. So if you're interested in investing in a new adventure, we got an opportunity for you. Just get in touch with us, and just remember, there's adventure around every bend.
You just got to get yourselves out there and create your own adventure
at your leisure. We usually have a crowd for that.
I know, everybody goes, woo!